welcome everybody here at the Sing the SPIRIT online conference. Today I'm talking to Omer, a musician from Israel. I'm so pleased and so happy that it worked today, that we have this little conversation.
Yeah, I was lucky.
Glad to have you. Here we're in Munich right now.
Happy to be here.
Yeah. And I'd like to ask you to introduce yourself.
Okay, so my name is Omer from Israel, as he said. And I've been a musician since I can remember myself, studying, singing, different traditions, starting in the classical tradition, playing flute. Then once I started traveling the world, meeting other ways of playing, different instruments, different traditions. But most importantly, I started finding the magic of music beyond learning it, beyond being a musician and trying to do it the best as I can. But what I found is the power of music to connect people, and the power of expression to give us space where we can feel ourselves, a space where we can let go of things we don't need and receive new things. And this is really the healing quality of music. And once I found that, I realized that this is the path I want to take. How to create the space for other people and for myself, obviously, to enjoy. So I traveled the world a lot, studied different ways of healing, of working with people, different instruments, and the voice that became more and more the essence of it all. And today I work both as a musician, performing on stage, recording albums with my music, and both as a teacher, creating workshops or different kind of rituals that give this space, that create this space of music, of togetherness, of healing, a place for us to make our life better, basically. So I can definitely say music has saved my life, and that's why I devote my life to it.
You know, one thing you said when you introduce yourself, I find really interesting when I see you as an artist, that, well, you are, as people say, a multi-instrumentalist. You play the flute and the guitar and even other instruments.
Percussions.
And percussion. And then you discovered more and more the voice, as you said. I would like to hear something about how this focus has changed with you as a musician.
I think all human beings, even though it sounds big to say that, I think we all want to sing. This is the essence of it all. And also my parents tell me that as a kid, a very young kid, I was singing in front of people. I didn't have a problem. That was the first thing I did, like at 2 or 3. I would stand and sing. And then I became more and more shy, but actually I also started my musical journey at the age of 8 in school choir. And then I moved on to flute, and I became, with the age, I kind of became more shy, and I was hiding behind the instrument. And I feel many musicians do that. From my own experience, I met many musicians who kind of hide behind it. It's much easier to bring yourself through an instrument than through your own voice. Because the voice makes us naked.
So intimate, yeah.
It's very intimate. You hear the voice, you hear the inside of a person. It's very hard to hide. So that wish was there. That was like the strongest expression on the emotional level that I had, and with the years it started pulling me back. And it took time. for me to be able to stand on stage and to sing to people. It took time, but I was eager to do that, and I started writing my own songs and singing, and then getting a few feedbacks, good feedbacks that made me a bit stronger to continue. And then I started working on the more healing side of the voice. I had a time in my life where I was more sick and I lost my voice, and then I went to a teacher who works through voice movement therapy. It's something that was developed by Paul Newman in England. And there I found that great force of the voice to create change instantly. On the emotional level, it was unbelievable what I could take off myself through using the voice. I would come to meetings with her and sometimes just cry the whole hour just by starting to sing, and then the emotions come out, and it's a big load to take off. So today, even though I feel more free still with the flute, because that flute I play for 30 years, and there's a certain freedom there that is total. With a voice I have even more connection, I would say. I maybe still not have that freedom, maybe not also on the technical level with a voice, but it has such a deep connection. And there were a few times where I came to a concert and I felt some kind of emotional imbalance, whether I was too overly excited or feeling a bit closed or whatever. And I just used that to stand and to start the concert with an improvisation of the voice, maybe playing a chord of the first song or maybe not, but just letting the voice share. And it really brought me to that moment and opened me to be able to continue this concert from a different place, from a place of presence and more connection to myself and the audience. So that for me, the strength, the power of the voice to change and to connect is one of the greatest.
What you just said, how you started a concert sometimes, it reminded me of like the approach you have now with what you call pulsing. I would love to hear from you about pulsing, what you kind of developed as in a concert setting and also in a workshop setting. I would love to hear from that.
So pulsing, the pulsing comes from the basic beat, the basic pulse of life. Everything around us is a vibration, so it's all basically pulse in different rhythms that change, and from that the name comes, the pulsing. The concert started from a place where I wanted to create an experience where the audience and the musicians, we become one. It's not a singing circle, it's different than a singing circle. We don't necessarily sing songs, we sing a lot of melodies, and we create a kind of I don't know if you want to call it a ritual, an experience, some kind of something that's created through the music. But this is really to use the music as a tool to connect us. So I use simple melodies, either that I wrote or that other friends wrote and I just like, or famous songs that I just take a piece from here, a piece from there, and just use melodies that people can sing with la la la, ooh, all kinds of sounds. And we sing that and we repeat it. And we go into meditative spaces of listening carefully and of using the voice in ways that are not confined by our own thoughts about how we should sing, how we shouldn't sing. All these things are really narrowing the possibilities. So I always invite in pulsing the people to just let the voice. I always tell them, you sing like a frog, okay, be a frog. I don't need you to be a singer, but share your own voice. Because if we have 100 people sharing their own voice, we have a great force there. And that's what I'm interested in, to feel that force. When I feel it, it makes me happy. So this is the pulsing concert is this. It's about coming together and singing, and then inside I share some of my own songs. And it's like a musical journey. From that, the workshop developed. In the workshop, we are a smaller group usually who works for a longer time, and then we get possibility to go into depth with that and to start touching other aspects of life that music touches. Because for me, music is a teacher for life. And it's a teacher of life because music is based on the elementary rules of the universe. You know, as harmony, as overtones, as waves that are moving. It's basically the laws in the universe is ingrained in sound. Okay, not in music, in sound. And then music is what man created out of sound. He put it into shapes, into time, and so you actually understand the world of human beings through listening to music. Because you got both the universal laws and the human laws that are together in music. So when I studied music and when I learned music and when I spent many years with that, I started realizing that music teaches me about how to live. What is harmony and disharmony? What is rhythm? How rhythm changes, how it affects me. What is fear? If I try to resemble fear to the tension in music, and then the place where we are relaxed and home to the place of relaxation in music, because music always moves from tension into resolving. So this movement in life, in relationships, so all these things are kind of hidden in music, and that's what we touch in these courses. So we talk, we share, we experience, we meditate, we sing, we move. We do all kinds of things to express. And the essence of that, at the end, for me, is that people find their connection to their own way of expression. Music serves as a teacher to that, and our voice. So I don't need to be a singer. You know, if you like to paint, if you like to build houses, if you like to sell things, whatever you do, through the voice and through the expression, you can learn that freedom of playing, that freedom of creativity, and then move that to your own thing and share your own voice in the world. And that's what the groups are about. Yeah.
Wow, yeah. Thanks. As far as the methods are concerned, you use call and response, for example, but what other technical methods do you use to create this, what you just said?
One of the main ones that is very, very simple, but I find very deep as we continue to go, I call it vocal sharing. And vocal sharing takes us on a journey to connect to what is our first encounter with the voice behind the words. How to find the connection between what is inside me, whether it is physically, mentally, emotionally, what is happening inside, and how can I express it in the most direct way? Through my voice. Because the words are, we need the words to be able to communicate and to create the world we are creating, but the words actually hide many times the real meaning. Mm-hmm. And it comes to a place where even sometimes we use words and our voice says completely different thing, but the words say something. Mm-hmm. So the vocal sharing is about, let's connect. Let's really connect 1 second. Think we are prehistorical beings now, and you want to describe what you feel now, and all you have is just this, just this thing. Take it out. What does it mean to you? So we sit in a circle, and each one does that. And the amount of information that is in the room after that is so strong and so powerful to see. And it takes a while sometimes. You need to kind of, take off some layers and fear and even take away the effort of trying to do it and really just melt into that. Because it's not about doing, the vocal sharing. It's about allowing the expression to happen from something that is in you. So once you do that, also it starts changing immediately. So you can share a feeling that you have, but once you get in there, it starts moving and changing. And sometimes you start from one place and you end in a different place. Not always, but sometimes. And it's very interesting to see. So this vocal sharing is like the basis of some kind of work that develops beyond that. Yeah.
Sounds really archaic in a way.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's just a good way to free. You come into a room from your busy life. You sit in a circle, and now you have to kind of relax into that space. And so we use many times meditations to enter that space of listening. But when you just have that place where you can really share something, nobody needs to understand what you're sharing, but you just look and you're like, start from somewhere. Say if I connect to myself now and I'm like, then whatever it meant to you, for me it allowed a certain release and to arrive in a different way to where I am.
Yeah. And me, as a human being sitting next to you, I can relate to what you just expressed. On another level than when you just told me, hey, I had a hard day and a problem with my wife or whatever.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Not that I did,
Of course not. You're traveling. Besides, I liked so much 2 minutes ago when you gave this little crash course into how music relates to the laws of the universe.
Yeah.
It reminded me of something another guest here in the conference just said. I interviewed a Colombian singer. She's called Almunes. She has been in this band Lula Cruza for many years, and she told me in the interview that she's also a trained singer, a trained musician, but then she became more interested in exploring not the laws of nature in music and not so much the laws of music.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and I believe that might be a tension in your musical life also, because I mean you are a professional music,
Mm-hmm.
and you know, I guess, your stuff about musical theory,
Mm-hmm.
and now you find a more intuitive way.
But I think my way was always, I was always attracted to the intuitive,
Mm-hmm.
More, you said archaic.
Mm-hmm.
I like that connection. So even when I studied music, I was never too keen on like this kind of knowledge and learning it a lot. This was not my passion. Even when studying classical music and playing only notes, still my connection was in a way beyond. It was something that's more based on this feeling it, because music for me was always a space of feeling. As I'm a person who's very mental and kind of accurate and have my things and this and that,
Mm-hmm.
I think that was my place of healing, the place where it's not there. I don't need to understand. I don't care. It's just a space that I'm held. So once I found also the way to learn that, then it was even stronger. You know, approaching music from, let's say, studying Indian music. I remember once I started studying the bansuri, the Indian flute. I went to my teacher, and we sat, and he played, and I repeated, and he played, and I repeated. We did it once, twice, and 3 times. After a few classes like this, I was like, what are we doing? He's not teaching me anything. He's just playing, and I'm repeating. It's not, because I was used to understanding things. But after a month of this, I started playing Indian music. I was like, okay, so that's what it's about. We don't need to understand so much. Yeah, it's good to understand, but we don't need so much to understand. We get it. We get it from a teacher. This is like the shamanic way of teaching. You just stay with the teacher. You live with him. You sit in his aura. You see how he does things, and automatically you get the information. He doesn't need to explain everything. And like I say, it's good to understand, but many times the mind becomes a barrier because we're so keen on understanding that we forget that the real understanding happens inside. The body just knows. The feeling body just reacts. You know, it all happens. And this is my real connection to music. And that's what I work with people. And most of the people I work with are not musicians. So I work with them on connecting through that place, because to start teaching the music will take years and years. But if they connect to that place of a feeling, of play, of interacting, then they can enjoy the music even without knowing or having the technique to really do something, you know, that is, they can stand on stage and do that. But they can enjoy within themselves the world of music.
What you just said, that brings me to one thing I'm also interested in the context of this conference. It's called Sing the Spirit. I'm also interested, how can we relate through singing or through music making to something we might call spirit or whatever. And to introduce this, I wanted to share some experience I had with you a few years ago. And we met a few years ago at Hölberhof, which was a community in Bavaria where you visited quite regularly. Sometimes you had a nice connection there, and we met there somehow. And I remember once when you were at Hölberhof in the community, and I was also there, I was walking around at the place, and I looked inside the seminar room, which was which had the big glass windows and so on, you know it. And I looked inside the room, and I saw Omer sitting on a chair in the middle of the seminar room, alone. Okay, sitting on a chair with his guitar and the flute, and I just walked by and I thought, oh, yeah, he's practicing. He's a musician. He's practicing. And now later I thought about it again, and I thought to myself, it didn't really look like you were practicing. You know, it looked more like you were having a communion in a way with a higher source of your creativity.
Yeah,
you know,
that's big words.
I know it's really big words, but I just
big
want
words,
to say,
I was playing music. No, I think it's a difference between practicing and playing. And playing, it's like, you know, there's something small about this word, playing. Yeah, play music, kids play. Yeah. But it's all about playing. You know, if we manage to live our life like we are playing, then we don't need anything more. Because what is playing? Playing, first of all, is being present. You know, you see a child play, and he's there. The game now is his life. It's not. He's not like playing from the outside, but he's now there. So first of all, it's presence, and then it's creativity. It's that thing that everything can happen. He's creating his world now. You know, he doesn't care if he plays with Lego or with dolls or whatever. He makes up things from his inner world and puts it outside, and there's no rules. He makes the rules. So he's present and he's creative. And he's enjoying. He's having fun. So practicing is much more confined. It's something you do for a reason. It has rules, barriers, and it's needed. I'm not saying not. You know, we live in a world with rules, and we need that also as adults. But we forgot the playing part. So what you saw me doing was playing. I was sitting there and I was having a melody and I was enjoying it. I was playing it again and again, and I was, moving in that space and just having fun with that. And so you can call it also connecting to source. You can use a lot of big words also to describe the same thing, and it also means that, I think. I like sometimes to narrow down the language more down to earth, just because we went too far away. That there's a lot of overly used words now in this world of spirit.
Good point. Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah.
Funny in a way how you answered my high pitched question. Really, down to earth. Because, as I told you, what I like about your music, especially the Pulsing album and your live music, is that it's so playful. That really helps people to connect and to open themselves.
Yeah, it took me a while to understand that with me, to let go of trying to be complicated. I have that part in me also, which I love, going deep and in different places. I have it and I enjoy it also. But not to try and make it, but allow also that other part in me, which is very simple and grounded, to come out. And it brings joy and it brings connectedness. And I see that I get the feedbacks I get from people are sometimes, most feedbacks I get for the things that as a musician I consider most simple. I have some songs or things that I wrote, they're very proud of them, but they don't touch the same way as the most simple thing, simple melody, 2-3 chords, and for some reason it resonates a lot.
So let's be humble.
Let's be whole. Try to bring all the parts together.
Yeah. What I found so amazing is not long ago, within quite a short time span, you released 2 albums. It was really quite. On the one hand, you released the first solo album, which is more like a singer-songwriter style, called A Window in Time. What's it called in Hebrew?
Chalon Bazman.
Chalon Bazman?
Chalon Bazman, yeah.
Okay. And then shortly after that, I believe, you released the Pulsing album.
Yes.
And that's it's so great of you. I really like a crazy strategy, you would say, in the music business, but
it's no strategy.
Yeah, exactly. Because they shows different aspects of your music.
Yeah. That's what it is. It was definitely not smart on the on the grounded promoting way. But musically that's what happened in that time, and I felt really good because the Pulsing album also came as an answer from people who come and they want to have that music at home. So I didn't feel like holding it back and waiting for a time that was right, but more just releasing it and showing it to people in concerts. Yeah. But also that album, the first album I worked on for 3.5 years. It was really produced and a lot of money went to it. And the Pulsing album we did in a few months, playing it mostly live. The rest I did by myself. And also, like we said before, the reactions from people, the Pulsing album touches in a way,
Yeah.
Yeah,
That's
interesting.
Yeah. Here come the 2. I even heard some DJs play. I mean not in the big clubs or so, but in the alternative dance scene, I heard it quite sometimes that tracks from the Pulsing album were used because it's so.
Yeah, I have some friends in Israel who like it to play it also.
Yeah, really nice. I wanted to ask you another question of your musical history. You learned and played also a lot with Carioca, a Brazilian guitar player and a singer also. I wanted to ask you if there were any teachings for the voice or in any kind you found there and you maybe want to share.
The teaching I received from Carioca and from the Brazilian music is a lot about groove. A lot about the different rhythms and how to treat the rhythm and how essential rhythm is. Because when you come from classical music, the whole rhythm section thing is not as developed as in other kinds of music. Not that there isn't rhythm, but it's not defined in that way in an orchestra. And to understand how rhythm works in music, like the power and the different styles of rhythm that are like in Brazilian music, because it comes from African music, it's so complicated, the rhythms, and so rich. So I think this is one of the important things. And I think what I shared before about this playfulness is something that I learned a lot from Carioca. This way of just do, release. You know, Carioca does an album, he releases it, he moves on to the next one. And what was. You know, it's not like this kind of, I have to make my piece and this and that and heavy and take time. Just releases another one. And this one is like crazy jazz and this one's like children's songs and this one, you know, doing this thing. And each one he allows himself to try different creative things also, which is great. Some is really musically refined and some is like messy and some, so many different colors. And at the beginning I was looking at, you know, I want everything to be refined and great and this. Then just to realize, just do. Because if you don't do, all this energy sits on your head and presses you down. Because I think most people are depressed because they don't do. They don't do the thing they really want to do. And then they get depressed. Because if we don't use our creative energy, this creative energy comes and sits on us and kills us. So that power to just allow the energy to flow through you. Whatever comes. Spontaneously. Do that, move to the next. The next be better. The next will be that. This is a great teaching.
Well, it's no secret. Some people have like they are uncertain with their voice. They want to sing in your workshop or in a circle or in a choir, but they feel blocked.
Yes.
What would you advise them?
I would advise them to come to the voice from a different place. Let go of the singing for a minute. Let's not think of singing because that word is so heavy. Choose another word. Vocalize it. Using your voice. Whatever. And start allowing it to be expressed. So obviously if a person has an issue there, he will not do it at home alone. So join a workshop that offers that kind of space. And then start using it with a block. Like I said before, if we do that vocal sharing, if you feel blocked, share the block. Don't try to overcome it. Or if you have the fear, if you have the shame, if you have the pain, whatever you have, share that. And even if the voice sounds to you ugly, even if you think now, oh my God, I sound horrible, my voice is ugly, I'm out of rhythm, out of tune, just let that blah 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 continue and let the voice continue separately. And you need to have obviously a space that is held for that, so you feel safe to do that. once you do that and allow the voice to come more and more and more and more and release these blockages, you then start to get to know it, because you don't know it. Most people don't know their voice. They just know their speaking voice, and not even that, because they don't listen when they speak. So if you record them speaking and they listen to themselves, usually they will feel uncomfortable with that. So just start getting to know that voice. Treat it as if it is a child. Okay? Well, you see a child, you need to let him find himself. You need to let him discover who he is. You need to let him fall down, make mistakes, so he becomes an adult. Same with the voice. We hear the best singers in the world, and then we automatically, no, I'm not like him. Of course you're not like him. This is a person who dedicated his whole life to making music. You didn't. So just start where you are, without all these big, heavy things you put on it. And from there, slowly, you will find what your voice has to tell you. And the beauty is not necessarily shows itself how you think it will show itself. And if you listen to different kinds of music from around the world, you'll see their definition of beauty sometimes is not really what you think is beauty. If you hear Tibetan singing, most people think it's horrible voice. Or if you hear, flamenco singers scream, or if you hear, rock and roll singers scream, or if you hear opera singing, of all these different voices, not everybody thinks they're beautiful. So also allow your voice to show its beauty slowly. Allow it.
Thanks so much.
My pleasure.
Yeah. I think that's quite a good round input. Yes. Something to work on, or to
definitely
to try to find something for everyone here. Yeah,
great.
I enjoyed it.
Yeah, me too. Thank you. So this tune is from the album Pulsing, and it's called "A Voice in the Wind." I play it with a capo on the 4th fret,
Mm-hmm.
and it starts from C, C sus, then going to A minor, or A minor 7, C, C sus, C, C sus, A minor going to G sus, and then G, D minor, or D9, A minor 7, G, sus, G, D minor, A minor, G sus, G, and then again.
Thanks for sharing.
Big pleasure.
All the best.
Maybe I'll go
It's
again.
more about
Yeah.
you, you know.
Okay.
I can stand in your shadow.
It doesn't matter. I don't like people standing at my shadow.
Mm-hmm.
Stand
Okay. That's
with the light.
Mm-hmm. So you're empowering people. I like it. No, you empower yourself. Okay, even better.
Terra, eu sou sua filha, Terra, te amo. Terra, eu sou sua filha, Terra,
planeta de oposição.
Terra, luz e escuridão.
Terra,
E todos nós estamos vivendo aqui com muito coragem e fé, abraçando a sombra e o sol, abraçando a sombra e o sol, abraçando na vida aqui na terra, na terra, minha terra, mamãe.